Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another video on GDPR for beginners from Zero to Pro series on Learning with GP, the only place where GDPR is simplified. I'm going to make videos on each of the important topics covering GDPR. These upcoming videos will be an introduction to GDPR, but as we progress, every topic will have dedicated video to it. So, subscribe to my channel and explore for more in-depth content on the topics. In case you are curious to learn about a topic, you can also let me know in the comments below. Now let's do a little recap. In the last video, we talked about why is GDPR introduced. Today, we will learn who are the key players of GDPR. And in the end, we will take a little quiz to test what have you learned from this video. In the next video, we will talk about the new changes introduced by GDPR. And of course, we will do a quiz as it's good to assess and revise. So without further ado, let's jump right in understanding the key players of GDPR. First in this list comes personal data. Personal data is anything that can be used to identify data owner. You can check out a lot more information on personal data in our previous video covering why should you learn about GDPR. Then comes data subject. Data subject is the owner of the data. Let's introduce an example with a fictional company to understand these concepts even better. Let's take a company called BuyMeToo and its platform buymetoo.com. So, if you register on buymetoo.com to shop for different items, then you are the owner of the data you provided to buymetoo.com in order to register. So that makes it clear. Well, moving on to the next one. The next we have data controller. Data controller determines the purpose and means of processing of the personal data. Let's take a closer look at data controller and try to understand it better. So, who is a data controller? Data controller can be a natural or legal person, public authority, agency, or other body. How do they work? They can work alone or jointly with others. Why do they exist? They exist to determine the purpose and meaning of the personal data. And what do they do it for? They do it for processing personal data. So if you remember in our previous example of a fictional company called BuyMeToo, BuyMeToo would be the data controller. Well, that makes data controller's definition perfectly clear. Now let's move on to data processor. Data processor is a natural or legal person, public authority, agency, or other body which processes personal data on behalf of the controller. Now let's take a step deeper. Let's go back to our example of BuyMeToo and discuss a couple of scenarios and see who could possibly be the data processor in which scenario. Let's first talk about in-house scenario. In this case, all the data processing is being handled by BuyMeToo themselves. BuyMeToo becomes the data processor as well. In the next case, BuyMeToo outsources its data processing to another company, let's say a fictional company called GP Data. In this case, GP Data becomes the data processor, while BuyMeToo still stays in the role of data controller. In the next case, BuyMeToo decides to process some of the data and outsources the rest to GP Data. In this case, they both become the data processor. but BuyMe2 still remains the data controller. Well, I hope that example helped you understand data processor's definition clearly. Now let's move on to data recipient. Data recipient is a natural or legal person, public authority, agency, or another body to which the personal data are disclosed to, whether a third party or not. So going back to our example of BuyMe2 website, in case you tick any of the boxes which ask you to grant them permission to share your data with other parties other than the organization of interest, then they will be the data recipient along with the main organization, that is BuyMe2 itself. And finally, we have supervisory authority. Supervisory authority are the enforcers of GDPR. Each member state provides for one or more independent public authorities to be responsible for monitoring the application of GDPR. These are the people who enforce the GDPR by auditing the companies, finding them, and making sure that GDPR is complied with. For example, BFDI is the supervising authority for GDPR compliance in Germany. Well, now let's do a quick recap of all the key players. So the first was personal data, then data subject, data controller, data processor, data recipient, and finally we have supervisory authority. With this, we are finally finished with our video on key players of GDPR. And this brings us to quiz time. So let's put to test the knowledge we have gained from this video. In this section, you will be shown a couple of simple questions based on the topics that we have covered so far. The questions will have 4 alternatives and 1 correct alternative. Feel free to take your time or go back to the lesson and find the correct answer. You can write the answer in the comment section below. I will make sure to get to your answer. I hope you got all the answers to the quiz correct. In the next video, we will talk about the changes introduced by GDPR to privacy laws. And of course, we will do a little quiz. So stay tuned for more videos. Do subscribe to my channel, Learning with GP, where GDPR is simplified. And with that, I thank you for putting your best foot forward towards understanding GDPR. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me at gunjan.gdpr@gmail.com. So see you soon. Until next time, bye!